Good morning and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I'm Razzle11 and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Going to take a look at some pitching for today, the 30th of May. It is Friday. We do have a 13-game main slate ahead of us this evening. We do have a couple of games with weather, especially one in Baltimore. The other one, the New York Mets, doesn't look too terrible. Maybe Atlanta, but the big worry here is Baltimore. Could be looking at a PPD early in the day. Reminder, this is a first look at the pitching options, and I will be looking at DraftKings as that is where a majority of my action is. If you do play FanDuel, I'll cut my pool in half or so. You don't have to be as creative. Pricing isn't quite as tight, and it allows you to get the stacks you want with an upper tier-ish pitcher. So with all that said, let's just dive into the pitching options on this slate. The aforementioned Baltimore game with rain. Obviously, probably not going to end up anywhere here. Zach Eflin's been lit up by home runs in each of his last two starts, 7 of them in 10 1/3. With that said, taking on the White Sox, he is a minus 230 favorite. If this game magically clears up, Eflin is somebody that I want to consider as such a strong favorite. Just a 4.5K prop with juice on the under, though, so not the greatest. The A's and Toronto. We just saw Toronto absolutely destroy Jacob Lopez yesterday. Don't think we can go to the A's pitcher, even though I kind of want to, because I feel like there's a little hangover effect potentially with the Toronto bats. With that said, it's Chris Bassitt that we are going to be utilizing this evening. He's been absolutely phenomenal at home from an underlying number, and his strikeouts are much stronger when at home. Fewer hits as well. A little revenge narrative, if you will, came up with the A's years ago. It's plus 140 to earn the W, which is one of the, I'd say, top 6 or so numbers on the slate. K-prop of 5.5, juices on the under, which is going to put him about 5th or 6th, maybe even 7th, I guess. There are a bunch of guys that K-props of 5.5, mostly juiced to the over, but still, Bassitt minus 166 favorite. Strong props across the board for him, and I do think the A's are striking out plenty right now. So, I want to consider Bassitt. Actually, more than consider him, I'm fairly certain he's going to be in my pitcher pool when all is said and done. LA, Cleveland, no, I don't have a ton of interest, but Luis Ortiz intrigues me a little bit. Coming off of an atrocious performance, walks are going to be an issue for him. They just always are. But the K upside is what matters to me, at least. He did have one start against the Angels early on in the season. He only struck out 3, but that was after he had struck out just 2. Little slow start. Since then, he has 5 starts of 7+ strikeouts in his 8 since those first 2. So, I'm going to consider Luis Ortiz in this spot. His K-prop's 5.5, juice to the over. Game total on this one's just 8. I like the upside for Luis Ortiz. Obviously, he's volatile, but the Angels are pretty right-hand heavy overall, and I think that helps a bit in this ballpark. So I think Luis Ortiz is one of those guys that we want to use, even though he is obviously volatile. David Peterson against the Rockies, certainly going there because we are picking on the Rockies theme, season-long theme so far. The Mets are minus 360 favorites. Its game total 7.5 with juice on the over, so it's third highest total. Peterson's K-prop of 6.5, juice to the under, which is the second highest K-prop on the slate. And he is minus 125 to earn the W, which is the best odds on the slate. All of that is going to say Peterson is our guy. Now, here's the worry. Peterson doesn't offer the same type of ceiling that a lot of these guys could, or at least some of these expensive guys. His top start on the season is just under 27 fantasy points. He's done it twice against the Dodgers and Marlins. There's a good chance he allows a run. He doesn't have a ton of K upside, 4 starts of 7+, but he's just going to be steady. Should be a super strong cash pitcher on the slate. But if somehow his ownership number creeps extremely high, might just have to go under and hope that he is just his normal self. Normal self would be strong enough in some smaller field, etc. But in gigantic fields, I just don't know if 18 to 25 from somebody in that matchup is really going to do enough for us. I generally want 20, trying to find 25 to 30 fantasy point returns from pitching on large slates. San Francisco, Miami. I'm never playing Cal Quantrill, so he's not even in consideration. Kyle Harrison made his first start last time out. 57 pitches, probably into the 70s in pitch count for this start. Former top prospect, so there's talent here. He's minus 175 favorite, so there's things that are pointing towards him. Doesn't have a win odds prop, and I think that comes from them trying to figure out just how many pitches he might be throwing. K prop of 4.5, juice to the under. I am intrigued by Harrison. I just don't know if on a 13-game slate he's going to make any sense because of a pitch count cap as he gets lengthened out. Boston, Atlanta. Game total of 9.5, juice on the under. From a name perspective, I think both guys are interesting. I'm more interested in Grant Holmes, even though I don't think he's as good as he's shown. 2 earned or less in 4 out of his last 5 starts. Taking on a Boston squad that strikes out plenty. Holmes randomly can show off strikeout upside, but generally I'm going to say he's going to end up around 4 or 5. His K prop's at 5.5 with juice to the over. It's a pretty strong number, to be honest. He's plus 155 to earn the W, which is solid. Kind of middle of the road on this slate, maybe upper half. Just picking on Boston and their propensity to strike out at times. Giolito can flash excellent, right? There's still upside in this guy's arm, but when he's off, he's way off. Obviously he just faced Atlanta 2 weeks ago, and they lit him up, home runs, etc. I don't think I'm going to get to Giolito, but he's just one of those guys that just randomly can show up in spots that you weren't exactly expecting. So I did want to mention him as a possibility. He's just not somebody I see myself getting to. St. Louis, Texas. I'm just not using Jack Leiter against a team that doesn't strike out all that much. A lot of contact. He allows base runners, walks, etc. Just not the best spot, so I'm going to pass on Leiter. Litor, a minus 130 favorite, plus 170 to earn the W. 2 earned runs or less in every start since April 7th. He has been strong, showing the part of the big-time prospect that he once was with Tampa Bay. Now that he is not being yo-yoed between the bullpen and starting rotation, that's making a pretty big difference. K-prop of 4.5, juice to the under. Don't like that number, but I do like the matchup. The Texas offense has struggled plenty. I know they get Seager back, etc., but I just think Litor is in one of those solid spots. The game total is 9 with juice to the under. Don't love that, but I do really like me some Matthew Litor. Don't love the price tag, though, to be honest. Tampa Bay, Houston. Here's a spot. Pepio, a guy that I always want to consider coming off a strong start. I did look into some of his splits earlier this morning, and he's best against teams that have a bunch of lefties. He's actually stronger against left-handed bats. Houston just doesn't have left-handed hitters. It's just a spot that I'm going to pass on Pepio at this point. Framber Valdez is a spot that I am going to be attacking. 20-plus fantasy points in 4 straight starts. 5 of 6. Coming in pretty solid form. Obviously, Tampa Bay just exploded yesterday, but the one thing that we've been riding for weeks now, left-handed pitching against Tampa Bay. Game total 7.5, juice to the under in this one. Tied for the second lowest on the slate. His K prop 5.5 juice to the over, plus 140 to earn the W. I think there's just a lot of things in play for Framber Valdez in this spot, and I'm going to continue, like I said, to use left-handed pitching against Tampa Bay. Detroit, Kansas City. Kansas City struggling enough where I want to utilize Casey Mize, who put up 21 fantasy points the last time he faced this team. Now, the K upside isn't quite there in this matchup. His K prop's just 3.5 juice to the over. But he's a minus 122 favorite. Game total of 8 juice to the under. I just think it's a solid pitching spot. I think Peterson's probably the smarter, safer play. But I just like Casey Mize. He went into Coors and absolutely dominated. Now, yes, it's the Rockies, and we're just picking on the Rockies as much as possible. But, I mean, he's 18-plus fantasy points in all but 2 starts this season. I'm just going to go with Casey Mize in the spot. Lugo on the other side is intriguing. I have to look at his rehab. I don't know if he made a rehab start. He didn't. Just through bullpen sessions. That's a bit worrisome. I still think we can pick on Detroit a little bit here and there with pitching. They do have some guys that can strike out, but the fact that he didn't make any rehab starts does worry me. It doesn't have any win odds, so we have no idea what kind of pitch count he's going to be on. K-prop's 4.5 juice to the over, and that's what kind of stood out to me is Ks are kind of expected out of him, but I don't know if we can get there, unfortunately. Mel Kelly, I want to use Kelly. I like him at home. Obviously, he's been absolutely phenomenal at home. His K numbers take a hit when at home, but, I mean, he's just been really good. His K prop's 4.5, juice to the over. He's a minus 218 favorite. He's plus 115 to earn the W, which of the odds posted, that's the second best number on this slate. That's what stood out to me looking at these props to get an idea of where to go. I think we have to consider Kelly. I really do. I haven't been using a ton of pitching against Washington of late, but I think we do have to play Kelly. Irvin, coming off of what probably was his best career Major League start, I just don't think I want to do that. I like the Arizona offense too much to take a right-handed pitcher on the road in Arizona. Pitt, San Diego. No thanks on Mitch Keller because I'm just not using Mitch Keller. But Nick Pivetta, somebody I want to use. A lot of K upside. Home run volatility has allowed a home run in 5 straight starts. So there is danger there. Can fall victim to walks and home runs. It's certainly possible in baseball. But second lowest game total on the slate. K prop is 6.5 juice to the over, which is the number 1 K prop on the slate. And he's plus 120 to earn the W, which is the third best odds on the slate, right behind Mel Kelly. And I believe Pitt's still last in baseball in a total runs number. So Pivetta's definitely got to be somebody we're utilizing. Woo against Minnesota. He's evened out his splits over the last year and a half, 2 years. So I think we have to use Brian Woo. Game total of 7 in this one, so it's the lowest total on the slate. Plus 135 during the W. K prop of 5.5 juice to the over. Woo, definitely somebody we want to use. Sebby Matthews, super volatile, but a lot of K upside. K prop of 5.5 juice to the over as well. But he's plus 280 during the W. He just not allowed to go very deep, unfortunately. Last game on the slate, the big Yankee-Dodger matchup. I think we mix in Max Fried. I don't mind eliminating from the pool just because you don't want to pick on the Dodgers. I understand it, but Fried's got a K prop of 4.5 juice to the over. He's plus 120 to earn the W. Similar to Nick Pivetta taking on the Pirates, so that tells you a lot. So there we have it. There's our first look at pitching. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell on, get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc. I'll put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's R-A-Z, for 10% off monthly. And as always, best of luck, everybody.